What's going on YouTube? Today we're back with another tutorial and I'm going to show you how to create this paper cutout effect that you guys have been asking me a lot to create a tutorial on it. It's a little bit tricky, but if you learn it good enough, it's super easy and super useful for your projects. So without any further ado, let's get to it. So I have my image here and I'm just gonna rename it main image. So first things first, what you need to do is to just grab any selection tool that fits for you. You can do a rectangle, you can do this elliptical tool if you want an oval selection. But what I'm going to use mostly are these two, the lasso tool and polygonal lasso tool. So for example, let's do a paper cutout effect here around his eyes. So I'm just gonna create an effect like this, something like this. And what you need to do now is that you need to make a copy of this selection. You can easily do that by hitting Command J or Command C and then Command V to paste it. So this is the cutout layer. Just make a duplicate of it and hide this one and name it cutout. Perfect. So what you need to do now is to create a mask for this layer, and you can simply do that by holding Command and click on this thumbnail here, not the layer, just the image here. By holding Command, as you can see, it will change and you will just simply click on it and it will select the selection and simply click on mask here. So now you have a cutout layer with a mask, and if you check out your channels, you will see that you have a cutout mask in your channels. So we are going to work with the channel to see what our effect looks like as we go further. So just make it visible and make the RGB one invisible. So here is your actually mask layer. So now on your mask layer, what you need to do is to go to the filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and give it around 0.7 and a little bit of a, as you can see, blur here. Then what you need to do is to go to the filter, pixelate, and crystallize, and give it around 3 cells. So I believe 3 is a good size, and as you can see, it is giving us a little bit of that paper cut effect here. Then you need to go to the image adjustment, and on the levels, just bring this one here. I don't know if you can see it or not. Let me just zoom in so that you can see the difference. So as you can see, what I'm doing is that I'm making that paper cut effect more crisp. And for this one also, just gonna put it around 84 and 0.84 here, and just simply click OK. And what you need to do now is that you have to click on your RGB channel, and by holding Command, just select that mask layer here, and just simply on your layers, get back to the layers. On your layers, you need to create a solid color. So it is creating a solid color using that mask layer, and create a white layer. Also, you need another one with the black layer. So get back to the channels, select the layer, get back to the layers and create a black one. Now what you need to do is that our black one is going to be our shadows, and the white is actually the part of the paper that is visible when you cut it. So I'm just gonna change the name of this to shadow, and this one I believe maybe highlights is a good name for it. So this is our cutout effect, this is our shadow and highlight. I'm going to bring down the shadow and bring down the highlights. So now as you can see, we're having a little bit of that effect, and we have to just do a couple of different changes to give it that cutout look that we want. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to select my shadows, and by using the arrow keys or just hitting Command T, you can just shift it around. So what I'm going to do with the arrow keys, just hit 1 down, 2 down, 3 down here. Just gonna create a nice shadow for it, and get back to your channels, and on your shadow mask here, so I'm just gonna make it visible so that you can see. I'm just going to the filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and give it 0.7 again. So now when we turn on our RGB mode, you can see that the shadow is not as crisp as it was because we gave it a blur effect. So I'm just gonna bring down my opacity around 75 to 80, and let me just deselect this. Okay, so I'm just gonna fix the position. I believe this is cool. Now what we need to do is to just select our highlight layer, and what I'm going to do is that I'm going to make the cutout effect pop even more. So by selecting the highlight layer, I'm just going to the channels, and I'm going to select my highlight channel, make it visible, and make the RGB invisible. So on the highlight mask, what we need to do is that we need to go to the filter, distort, and we need to choose ripple. So here, let me just zoom into it. This is the effect that is going to make our cutout effect look more realistic. So I usually give it an amount of 90 to around 100 and put the size on medium, and I would just click on OK. So as you can see, it is giving us a nice effect here. Then I'm going back to the RGB mode and make that highlight mask invisible, get back to the layer, and now we have our highlights too. What we need to do now is to just create a new layer above all of our layers, and right click on it and create a clipping mask for our cutout layer here. And then I'm going to go to the edit, fill, give it a 50% of gray, and I'm going to add some grain to it. So I will just go to the filter. You can do it in different styles. You can just go to the noise, add a noise, or go to the camera raw filter. But what I would like to do is to go to the blur effect and fill blur, and from here down here on the effect, you have this tab called noise. I'm just gonna boost the amount of the noise, boost the size to around 45, and the roughness to around 80, and I would just simply click OK on it and change the blending mode to the overlay. So as you can see, we have it now. Also for the highlights, you can just simply by the arrow keys click on it, or just simply click on Command T, and you can just, by using a skew, you can just, you know, give it a nice transform like that. And for this cutout layer, one more thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to the image adjustment and levels, and for the output levels I'm going to bring it around 20. Just give it a grungy look, grungy and vintage look. So that is, I believe, so good. I'm just gonna change the highlight a little bit, so something like that. Maybe I would just choose warp, and yeah, by using warp I'm just going to make it pop even more. And for the shadows I'm just gonna bring it down. Also for these white highlights and the shadows, what I'm going to do for the highlights, I'm going to change the color to a light gray, something like that. That is better. And for the shadows I would just choose a dark gray. And here's our final effect. One more thing for this shadow, also you can just do the same step that we did with the highlights. So you can basically choose the shadow layer, go to the channels, choose the mask layer, and you can also give it a ripple effect. So I believe going to make it better. Yeah, that looks more realistic, and you're good to go. Hope you liked the video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and peace.